Welcome, Hudson Valley. This is Conor Walsh, host of In Touch, Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley's award-winning public affairs and issues program. This week on In Touch, we speak with Barry Lewis from the Regional Food Bank of Northeastern New York, a not-for-profit organization that collects and distributes food across 23 counties within New York, feeding over 350,000 people each month. We discuss the opening of a new 46,000 square foot distribution center in Orange County that will make a generational impact on the growing food insecurity issue here in the Hudson Valley. We invite you to listen to a previously recorded conversation between Barry and myself here on In Touch. Hello, Hudson Valley. You're listening to another episode of In Touch, Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley's award-winning public affairs and issues program. We got a great episode for you guys today. Looking forward to this one. Not only is it great for the upcoming holidays, it's something that you really need to know about all year round, and I'm glad to have this returning guest on. Last time we spoke, we were speaking about the People for People Fund, but this time we're speaking about his other position working for the Regional Food Bank of Northeastern New York. With us, we have Barry Lewis, the Senior Public Affairs Officer of the Regional Food Bank. Barry, good to have you again. How are you?
Hey, Conor, thank you very much for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
I'm glad that we're able to get you in and everything. And also, this is a phenomenal time for you guys. Everything is going really well when it comes to the new building that you have coming out. And then, of course, the holiday season. We were saying right before we got on the mic, this is a very, very busy time for all of you guys.
Absolutely. The food bank is our main food bank. We're 23 counties. We go up from the Canadian border down to and including Rockland County. Wow. And in the Hudson Valley, we're the 6 counties. You know, it's Dutchess, Orange, Ulster, Sullivan, Rockland, and Putnam. We look at this area as certainly growth of a need. We need to expand. And so right now we currently have in Orange County, our Hudson Valley office is in Cornwall on Hudson, which is a beautiful, nice, bucolic area. Great to drive through if you've got a nice small vehicle. Difficult to drive through if you've got the trucks that are trying to bring in food or you got to be picking up food.
Yep. And
we realized that it was a site that had been donated to us and we outgrew it. So we are just about to open up a new 50,000 square foot, which is more than double the size of Cornwall site in Montgomery. It's right off 17, 84, 87. It's easily accessible, and it's being built for food distribution. It's being built for our volunteers to come in, our 400 partners in the Hudson Valley, and it's really going to make a generational difference in being able to provide food to so many in the area.
God, I can't imagine having the trucks go through like the town of Cornwall, the main strip there. Or
well,
anything.
the problem was they weren't. So we get a lot of food from, and people ask, well, what is a food bank? And if you think about a bank, because I asked the same question when I started. Well, it's food coming in, we hold it, we distribute it out, just like I guess a regular bank would in terms of money. And we get our food from a lot of areas. We get them from a lot of from the supermarkets. We partner with everyone. And basically, we like to say we rescue the food. These are good quality products that the supermarkets deem that they're not going to be able to sell to their patrons. And instead of it going to waste, it has not expired. It's still quality, good food. They give it to us. We also purchase food, discount price, but we purchase. We also work with the government, and so we get USDA. And so we get a lot of our food from the federal government comes in. Now, ironically, the USDA trucks would not go into Cornwall. They couldn't maneuver. So of the 20 million pounds of food that we delivered to the Hudson Valley, 11 of which had to come from Latham. Those USDA trucks would bypass the Hudson Valley, go up to Latham, right outside of Albany, and then our drivers, our trucks, would then have to bring the food back down to the Hudson Valley. So it took time. It meant the food could spend less time on the trucks. We couldn't work with as many farmers and as many partners that we wanted to. And so this is going to change that. So all the food will go directly from the USDA into Montgomery. So just like you said, there was a problem with the delivery. And this will change that. We're going to have in this building, we're looking for about 10,000 volunteers. Wow. Because really, the amount of volunteers that we have, and we figure there's going to be about as I said, 10,000. So we're going to have more volunteers. For the amount of volunteers that we have, if it wasn't for them, we would need to hire about 35 full-time employees, which would be physically impossible for us to do. On top of the fact that we have more than doubled the staff that we're going to be having in the Hudson Valley. We're going to be bringing greater awareness for people who listen to us who deal with food pantries and the schools. We have a lot greater awareness, and we're reaching out to more of those folks. But yeah, in the Hudson Valley, that building was just wasn't going to work. So this will make a big difference. We can't just do it overnight.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Because between now and the end of the year, it's our busiest time. The holiday season is big. It's very big. So we'll slowly start to bring in our office crew somewhere around mid-November. And then we'll begin to transition because we have to build up the food supply in Montgomery before we can ship it out from Montgomery. So we suspect somewhere around the start of the new year, we'll be able to be doing that. But we want to make sure that there's not a blip in terms of food distribution. So we're being very cautious about that. We're not going to rush the food distribution and in any way affect what people are expecting, what the food pantries, the churches that need it, what they're expecting.
Naturally. And that's a great way to kick off 2025. That's going to be really exciting to have that then. You have a number of really cool things coming up. Of course, November 7th at Villa Borghese, you have an event. And then during the holiday season, you guys are going to have like a spot there in Woodbury Commons. And I think we should get into both of those since let's go more in chronological order. So November 7th, coming up real quick, you have this awesome event, Farm to Fork Festival.
Right.
Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely, Conor. It's the 10th annual Farm to Fork Fest. Again, benefits Regional Food Bank, Hudson Valley. And it's going to be at the Villa Borghese in Wappinger Falls. I like to say this is the event everyone's going to talk about, especially when it's a 10th annual. It's going to be big. There'll be wine, food. We're going to honor our food bank champions, the folks, the behind-the-scene folks the Capital Campaign Committee, who was able to get us to build through their hard work and initiative and contacts so that we're able to build this building without any debt, which is extraordinary. State gave us money.
That's big.
We got a lot of foundation folks and just people wanting to give. The event have a cocktail reception with food tasting. There'll be a silent auction, dinner, a live auction. And the dinner is a 4-course meal. It's prepared by some of the area's finest chefs. We're going to be using the harvest of local growers and producers. And for tickets, information, real simple, people go to regionalfoodbank.net, and you'll see you can click on if you want to be a sponsor in any way, if you just want to individually go, or if it's a good opportunity when you're on the site, which we'll be talking about, you can either donate, or we're always looking for volunteers, particularly for the new building and for some of the other projects in the Hudson Valley. So it's a great opportunity to reach out. And you go to the site and you find out more about the food bank. Because I understand people who go to their pantries, they think that's where the food comes from. And or you're going to your churches or you're in the backpacks, and they don't realize that we help supply those pantries. So I think by going to the site, people get a little bit more insight as to what the food bank is, who we are, what we do, and how people can help. Because we know there's a lot of businesses that encourage employees to volunteer and help out. And we're a great source for people to help us out.
Big time. I think it would be great, and especially, as you said, with the new facility, you guys are going to need a lot more hands to be able to help out and take care of all that.
Oh, and we built it especially with volunteers in mind. So there's a special break room for the volunteers. It sounds silly, but their own bathrooms, their own entrance, their own parking area. We so much appreciate what volunteers are, because when a lot of those folks who are picking up food to deliver to their pantries, they're volunteers. Mm-hmm. We know that. There are very few that are paid. And so you have volunteers that are coming in their small vehicles, and they load it up, and they're doing a tremendous job. And most of them have been doing it for 30, 40 years. You see the same folks. So they're going to be able to back in They'll have their own area. They won't be competing with big trucks. They'll be able to come in, have some coffee, relax. So in terms of a volunteer experience, it's going to be a lot different than what they may have experienced currently in Cornwall. So they'll feel better, and we'll feel better knowing that we're making their life better and saying, hey, we appreciate what you're doing.
Absolutely. I can only imagine how intimidating it could be, like to show up to some big warehouse or big offices. Like, where do I go? What do I do? Am I going to get lost? Is there going to be parking? The fact that you have specific parking, specific entrances, specific lounges, that's great. That just goes to show that, as you said, how important they are to this whole system. And that's great that you're able to, assist them as they're assisting you guys.
We couldn't work without the volunteers. I know a lot of organizations say that, but when the food comes in from all those supermarkets, it's volunteers that are sorting. So people understand, and maybe it was their parents or their grandparents. We went to school, there was a food drive, and your mom gave you whatever dented can you had, and you brought it into the school or maybe a bank or something, and they were collecting. All well-meaning, but that's not what today's food bank is. 70% of the food that we hand out, that we distribute, are nutritious foods. It's fruits, it's vegetables. It's not just about handing out food, but we are aware of the nutritional aspects and how key that is. So, we have people at the food bank, the volunteers, the food comes in, they're sorting. If it's expired, it doesn't get sent out. It doesn't get wasted because we also work with farmers, and they'll use it to feed, believe it or not, pigs and other livestock that they have. So we don't look to waste anything, but we're also making sure that when people get stuff, it's not secondhand. Nobody else wanted this. This is great stuff. Plus, we have at the food bank, it's called Shop to Dock. We get a lot of extra food that comes in, stuff that the pantries have not asked for. You get a couple of pallets of blueberries, or there was a run on steak suddenly, and we're getting food that, we're giving still to the pantries, but we have a lot left over. Well, a lot of that food is free. We hand it out to anyone who comes in, but a lot of the folks who are going to pick up for the pantries, we say, here, is there something here that you would like? And if it's something that we had to purchase, we'll sell it to them at like 16 cents a pound. We're practically, again, trying to give away stuff that we get in. So this isn't about, in that aspect, anything making money. It's about we've got extra food. We want to give it out to people before it does expire.
No, this is truly people-focused, people-centric, and it's amazing that you're able to help out so many people, especially just pass it forward to everybody who's helping you out as well. Terrific. So terrific, Barry. I love hearing it.
In the Hudson Valley, as we work with, as I said, 400 partners. So we have the food pantries, and we deal with churches. We work with the backpack programs in schools. We're working to end the stigma of people who are getting free food. Unfortunately, there's this sense that there's a group of people that they want to get free food, that somehow people are trying to, beat the system.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you firsthand, having visited and gone to pantries, nobody wants to beat the system. People don't want to have to. We are grateful for the opportunity because we don't believe no one in this country should be going hungry.
Yeah.
We have plenty of food. We got to figure out a way to distribute it and get it to people. But the people that come to the pantries, I live in Sullivan County. It's one of our more rural counties in the Hudson Valley. But I'm sure in places in Dutchess County, in Poughkeepsie, others, it's the same situation. We have senior citizens who are on fixed incomes. Chances are they're not driving. So for them to get to a supermarket, they can't walk it. So they're taking a cab. So that may cost them round trip $40, $50. Doesn't take much for those cab rides to eat up. So if you're on a fixed income and you're a senior and you're taking a $40, $50 round trip cab ride, well, that's $40 or $50 that you're not spending on something. It's either could be your medicine, utilities, or food. But somewhere along, something's going to get cut. And to see these people, and I was doing some kind of undercover work at some food banks, And I'm a relatively healthy person. I have a vehicle. I can go in, I can get food, I can carry it to my car and drive off. But sitting there where a lot of senior folks, they've got the basket or the cart. The weather may be inclement, might be cold, might be rainy, but they still have to go and get the food. And we're grateful to give it to them, but rest assured, these are folks who, if they had their druthers, they wouldn't be getting it.
Yeah.
Same with the backpack program. We're expanding it in more and more schools in the Hudson Valley, but there's a stigma for a lot of kids that they don't want people to think that they're getting free food.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out ways, maybe have all the backpacks the same. Maybe they can go into a different room to collect it. We don't want kids to go hungry because they're ashamed of getting free food. And we know that's what's happening.
There is a shame. There is a stigma, absolutely, regardless of the age, 100%. I remember when I was living up in Albany, I did a lot of work with St. Vincent de Paul's Parish up there. They had a pantry of their own, and seeing the lines of people that would come through, as you said, you had the elderly, but then you also had the single mothers who are working 3 jobs to support their kids. You have those who are immigrants, those who didn't speak English, those who are sending money back to their families, those who were born and raised in the area but came through hard times because they had to care for their own health, going through health issues and lost all their money that way, caring for other people, and just the funds dried up. I could tell you so many dozens of different stories of why people were going there. I knew people I was going to college with who couldn't afford food on their own, so they would go to the bank.
You're exactly right. We're working with colleges because we know, particularly we have a lot of kids in the community colleges in the area, and the cost of college is high.
Yeah.
And again, something gives. And so we've got, in a lot of the schools, we're working with pantries at the schools. I know we're working with Dutchess, same idea of having a food pantry there. But yeah, it's you see the lines. People at like food pantries can open up. It's twice a month, and you see them lining up. You see that, and you appreciate, however tough your day was, whatever issues you thought you had. You go home and you look in your cabinets and you've got cans, and you look in your refrigerator and it seems pretty good, and it's one of these there before the grace of God.
Yeah.
A lot of the people, particularly in this time frame, we could talk about food insecurity, but it's a lot of folks who, husband works, wife works, they've got good jobs. But maybe there was just something happened in their life. Maybe they got laid off. Maybe there was a delay. They have 3 kids.
Exactly.
We all know that the cost of food has gone up, particularly because of the pandemic. And so, they're just looking for a little help, and we can provide that. But, it's a tough nut for these folks. And I've been there, and I've seen the kids coming in. Like I said, we supply a lot of nutritious food. But I saw one kid, they had... we had one of these big supermarket type birthday cakes, and the kid wanted it, and the mom was like, it was massive size. So the mom says, we'd be wasting more. So then the kid saw one of one of these specialty Oreo cookies, and top shelf, and mom said sure, and the kid's face lit up.
Aww.
And you're like, wow, it's something so much of us take for granted. And, I'm not wanting to make people feel bad that they have food, but it's just something we don't think about. And sometimes the only time we think about it is maybe at Thanksgiving or, the holiday season in December. And we're just trying to say, we should be thankful, but there's people that we know, our neighbors, who don't have. And, they're not going to shout it out. And what we're doing is so critical. And the food insecurity has gotten worse.
It has gotten worse. It is crazy. As you said, the holiday season is one of your busier times. And one of the things that you're doing during the holiday season is you're going to be actually over at Woodbury Commons, which is going to be great. There's going to be so many people coming through there. So you're getting the awareness aspect, hopefully getting some more volunteers out of that and trying to pass things on. Can you tell us a little bit about what the food bank is doing there at Woodbury Commons?
Sure. It's part of our holiday hunger appeal. And not surprisingly, during the holiday season, it's a great opportunity to ask people to donate and to help. And Woodbury Common Premium Outlets in Orange County, right near the Thruway in Central Valley. I'm sure a lot of listeners have been to it. It is surprisingly the #1 tourist attraction in New York State. And if you've been there, particularly around holiday time, you can feel that experience that it's the number one. It's nuts. It's crazy. But it's wonderful. And we were talking to Dave Mastrata, general manager there, and he said, yeah, Barry, how can we help? And I said, well, we're looking for some awareness. Absolutely. And so at holiday season, starting the weekend before Black Friday, November 22nd, 23rd, we're going to be there. We'll have a table at the food court inside the area.
Oh, thank God, inside.
Inside, yeah. Because most of Woodbury Common is outside. Right. And we'll have a table, and we'll be able to bring some awareness, and we'll seek donations. When we get closer to Christmas time, and this year Christmas and Hanukkah fall out, I believe, both on December 25th.
I believe so.
That week and a half before, we'll even do some gift wrapping. We are looking for volunteers, particularly those folks who would be willing to drive over there for do a shift and who can gift wrap. But we're also looking for volunteers to just be willing to spend some time there. And so we'll be there generally Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We can do more, but the key is on how many volunteers. I'm going to be doing a lot of shifts. A lot of people who work at the food bank are going to be doing shifts. And we'll spend a couple of hours there. We invite people if they're interested. Again, you can go to regionalfoodbank.net. If you're curious, if you're interested, if you're going to be in the area, you want to help out. Maybe you have family or friends who live in Orange County and say, hey, you live in Goshen or Middletown or maybe near Monroe, Woodbury, and, it's not too far a drive. You live near Cornwall and you can go over there. And we can use the volunteers. I was talking about the meal gap and the problem, and I said 21 million pounds of food the food bank delivers to these 6 counties here in the Hudson Valley.
That's insane.
And a lot of it is given to us. We get a lot of generous support, but a lot of it we have to buy. Fortunately, we buy in such great numbers that for every $1 donated, that equals 4 meals.
Wow.
So again, you donate $1, we're able to provide 4 meals. So if someone is generous enough to, throw down a 20 in a bucket for us, it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
It really makes a difference, yeah.
Take that, McDonald's dollar menu.
Yeah.
They don't even have the dollar menu anymore. It just goes to show you the prices are how insane.
The prices are insane. And particularly since COVID, as I said, since the pandemic, it's gotten worse. There isn't a county in this area that doesn't have double-digit food insecurity. In Dutchess County, it's 10%. Sullivan County, it's 3.1. Ulster, it's 12. Orange, it's 11.3. There's 155,000 more people, not total people, more people in the Hudson Valley who are dealing with food insecurity. 1 in 7 children. 1 in 7 children in the Hudson Valley aren't guaranteed where the next meal is coming from. We know supermarkets are closing in some areas. There's that idea of food deserts where people just can't get food. Okay, maybe there's a convenience store or something like that where it may or may not be convenient. You're certainly going to be paying more than you would at a supermarket. But how far is it to get to the supermarket? Again, in driving in here, going into Poughkeepsie, sure, it's a, this in the Hudson Valley, this is one of our bigger city areas, but we know there are parts of this area that are very suburban or rural.
Yeah.
And the supermarkets are not just around the corner. Yeah, it may be a 10, 15-minute drive, but that's a 10, 15-minute drive. Okay, you got a reliable vehicle.
Yeah.
What happens if you don't? Then what? Yeah. Do you have to rely on a bus? And what happens? How far do you have to walk to get to the bus? So again, I think it's things that we seem to just take for granted. And at the food bank, we're just trying to make life a little bit easier. It's part of our mission. We're looking to provide food to people, alleviate hunger, prevent food waste, and nourish the communities we serve. It's not just about giving food, but it's our vision that everyone should be getting food.
Yeah, it's a basic human need, and the fact that you're going out there distributing and making a difference is such a big thing for this area. Again, you're listening to In Touch, Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley's award-winning public affairs and issues program. We're speaking with Barry Lewis, Senior Public Affairs Officer for the Regional Food Bank of Northeastern New York, talking about the food insecurity here in the Hudson Valley and what they're doing around the holiday season to try to raise more awareness, get more money, get some more volunteers, and especially help aid in the new facility that they're finishing up with in Montgomery. Incredible stuff going on. Barry, I know you've said this a couple times now, but as we're wrapping up, if people want to volunteer, if people want to donate, if people want to go to any of these events we talked about, whether that be the Farm to Fork Fest on November 7th or meet you guys there at Woodbury Commons, where should people go for more information?
Sure, Conor. It's regionalfoodbank.net. If you're Googling and what did he say? Was it a net? Was it org? If you start to type in Regional Food Bank New York, you'll get to us. But it's regionalfoodbank.net. There's phone numbers there. You can. I'm sure if they contacted you, you can get folks to me. I'm Barry L. at regionalfoodbank.net. But I think it's easy to remember. You go to regionalfoodbank.net. You're going to get all the information. And we know we have a lot of volunteers. We know the Hudson Valley is incredibly generous. When there are natural disasters, when there are people in need, I know, having lived here most of my life now, people just want to give. And usually it's the people that can least afford that wind up giving the most. I have always found that out.
It's
because
so true.
They want to help a neighbor. And this whole idea is we're just giving a hand up. It's not about handouts. It's a hand up. We've all been in a situation where growing up, maybe you knew people, or you were in a situation where you got the old government cheese program.
Yeah.
You got a block of cheese or something like that. And we've all been online at supermarkets. About a month ago, I was online, and the person in front of me, was going to put away. He had a gallon of water. He had to buy water, and he just didn't have enough. And I said as he's bagging, I said, "I'll just put it on whatever mine is." And it just, we're into this mode now of wanting to pay it forward. Yeah. We want to help people. We're hearing a lot of divisiveness, but I think we are really good people. We really want to help people. The food bank just wants to make sure that nobody goes hungry. And so if people can reach out to us, it'd be great.
Terrific. And of course, all the links and information will be in the description of this episode. So you can find Barry, you can find the Regional Food Bank, you can find more info on all these events. There's so much available. And as Barry said, it's like so much to distribute, so much to give, so much to share here in the Hudson Valley. Barry, again, thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciate you being here on this episode of In Touch.
Hey, Conor, thank you for the opportunity for the station to give us a voice, and hope you have a great holiday.
You as well. Enjoy your holidays. This has been this week's edition of In Touch, the award-winning public affairs and issues program that runs across Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley radio stations. We want to give a big thank you to Barry Lewis. For more information, please visit regionalfoodbank.net. Of course, all links and information can be found in the description of this episode. I've been your host, Conor Walsh. Until next time, stay curious, keep an open mind, and as always, I'm glad we get to spend some time